What's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of According to Blake. You guys are probably wondering, Blake, you look so much more done up than usual. Well, it is New York Fashion Week, but I still had to make sure that we got these episodes recorded and everything like that. But nonetheless, welcome back, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, if you guys did forget, we are bi-weekly now, but make sure that you do not miss checking out the last episode, which was with Ka Spence, that we filmed. People are loving the conversation. It was so enlightening. I learned so much just about business and the art of trying again when it comes to business. So I know that you guys will love it too. It also just spoke to how important it is to be very open to the many paths and stages of your life, right? And to kind of let your life and your talents take them wherever they may. Nonetheless, I love the episode. I had so much fun with Ka. So if you haven't checked out that episode, make sure that you do. Now, let's dive right in. So you guys know we usually kick it off with pop culture. Usually for the past few, like I'd said, now that we're on a bi-weekly cadence and we do one solo and one interview a week, usually what happens is it's an entire month before we do a full rundown of like all the pop culture things that we had talked about before. So as you know, the past few, we had talked about Love Island. Well, Love Island is over, but the drama is not. I'm not going to get too deep into it because we have other things to cover today, but all I'm going to say is this. I was right about Ace. Y'all don't have to give me my props if you don't want to, but I was right about Ace. And that is why every episode after that clip, I said I stand 10 toes on it. That clip on TikTok, a whole bunch of people were coming into it like, oh, this aged terribly. What do you have to say now? What do you have to say now? And I got on this podcast and I said, I stand by what I say. I stand by what I say. And now everybody's coming back to that same clip saying, Blake, you were right. You were right. I know I was right. I know short men and I know Leo men. I know quite a few things. Anyway, we're not going to lean too much into that. Now, what I do want to talk about is if you guys didn't see on my Instagram and my TikTok, I went to the US Open. I had so much fun. I went as a guest at Shandon, but it was just so wonderful to see. Like, this was the Black girls US Open on the court with Naomi Osaka. She is so back. I feel like for a while I was feeling so bad for her and just feel, just as a Black woman, like you watch this woman postpartum who seems like she's, kind of losing her spark or trying to find her footing again. And so to see her back with her bedazzled boo-boo with her, like, I was so happy to see her, but it wasn't just on the court. I also, the night I went, I got to see Coco Gauff, which was my dream. It was my first time ever seeing her in person play, but it was so Black off the court too. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, I was unfamiliar with her until the US Open, but a woman named Ayan Bromfield, I hope that I'm pronouncing that right, had hosted 2 suites full of Black women, all tennis. Like, one I think was with one was with Cadillac, which is like the major sponsor of the Open. And then another one, I'm blanking on the other one, but it was just so fantastic. It is so fantastic to see us in these spaces, right? These spaces that, at their core, right, when they were created, they were not created for us. And to see that the way that we are not just in the space, but taking up space and dominating the space has just been so wonderful to see. And it's also like, if you guys have not been to the US Open, I highly suggest it. If you can get to New York to see the Open, even if you're not in the suites, all the things, that's not even just experiencing the energy. Even if you just go like not in the stadium, like inside the stadium, but there's an area outside where you can still like get drinks, get food, and just kind of be in the space. I so suggest it because it's so much fun. It's so much energy. I've been every year for maybe the past 4 years now. And every single year I look more and more forward to it. So nonetheless, I say all that to say, check out Ayan's page to check out all of the incredible Black women that she had. She has so many of my girls that I love. Any was at the suite one day. Simi was, Cynthia was, our girl Olandria. It's so interesting. I got this interesting comment on Threads when I was defending Olandria after the whole Ace interview situation. And this girl's like, Blake, you really just love Olandria. Yeah. Yeah. What else? What else would it be? Yeah, I do. I think she's absolute diva. She looked fabulous at the VMAs. Shout out to Vaseline. they sold out of that shimmer oil that she had on. Yeah, I do. Anyway, check that out. Make sure that you guys recap the US Open. It really was a blast and a half. And I'm so happy that I got to be a part of it this year. Now, on to more messy things. Or should we go into the VMAs? Okay, we can do a quick little VMAs thing. So transparently, I didn't watch all of it. I was kind of in and out. We're getting ready for I had my best friend's birthday party this weekend, getting ready for Fashion Week. It was just too much for me to, kind of be fully tuned in. But Summer Walker and this man she was with, can anybody clarify what was going on? If anybody is confused and does not know, I very much implore you to do your Googles. She came onto the carpet with an older man, and it appears that he was feeding her. She was feeding him. It was very sugar daddy coded. Now, here's the thing. Given Summer's previous dating history, this might be a huge step up. But I'm just trying to figure out who the man is. What's like does she have an album coming out that leans into the lore of this? Maybe she's not. I'm genuinely curious. Please let me know in the comments. I don't know exactly what happened, but I just know that part kind of like, anyway, the girls look great. Sierra looked fantastic. That red dress she had on was fabulous. Speaking of red, of course, Alandria looked fantastic in red. Like I said, I really liked, I know that some people, it's a very polarizing look, I guess. Doja Cat, I thought looked fab. Reason being, no, it is not something that I would wear usually, but given that her new album is so inspired by the 80s, I loved it. I think she is such a talented performer. I was actually, funny enough, I was at a dinner last night, a New York Fashion Week kickoff dinner last night. It was put on by La Roche-Posay and La Roche. You guys hear basically it was to celebrate the new campaign helmed by La Roche that tells people how to pronounce La Roche-Posay. It was really cute, really fun. And also we're celebrating 50 years of La Roche-Posay. Anyway, so that's to say, after the screening, there was a dinner and I was sitting with some of the La Roche executives and Law and some of the others. And we were talking about like what new girls today have, like not just star quality, because it's a lot of new girls today that have star quality, but like who of the girls has superstar quality? Like the qualities that will sustain them for years, right? Not just a season, like sustain these girls for years, that they will be superstars for decades. And Law was saying that there are 3 things that make a superstar, and a superstar has to have 2. I want to quote him correctly. He said, you have to be talented, beautiful, interesting. And you have to be 2 of those things as a woman to be a superstar, to be a mega superstar when it comes to music. And I was watching Doja's performance and I was just like, y'all, Doja is a superstar. Like I know the girl the things she says and the things she sometimes is not, okay, all right, we could go down that rabbit hole, but she is a superstar. And in my opinion, she has all 3. I think she's beautiful. I know she's talented. And I do think she's interesting. I mean, I wish that I could find the photo. Maybe I'll see if I can input it in here in this video. But when Doja Cat made Moo, I was Doja Cat for Halloween. Like, I find her to be interesting. I think she's she's hard to figure out, but you want to figure it out. Anyway, I 100% believe that when we talk about the girls of today who like truly will have mega stardom potential, right? The potential to be stars for decades and decades. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I truly feel like it's Doja Cat. Like it is Doja Cat for me. She does it. She gets it. She really gets it. Anyway, the VMAs was cute enough, I suppose. It seemed like a lot of the after parties were a lot of fun. Child, I stayed in the house. I was not making it out to any of those after parties, but nonetheless, it's always good when the award season comes around. And I like the VMAs because the VMAs is just more fun. It's less stuffy. You get to see some people that you wouldn't normally see on an award show red carpet. Like I forgot what publication it was, or was it a digital platform? I don't know, that basically made a post saying like at the VMAs, you saw creators and you saw, you just get to see like a mix. Like I saw that Monet was on the carpet. She looked beautiful. Shout out to my girl, Marissa, who styled her for it. But, you know, you get to see all of these creators and things like that. And I think that it just draws a more, I don't even want, yeah, maybe a more relatable crowd, depending on who you ask. Nonetheless, I thoroughly enjoyed the VMA fashions, if nothing else. I really did enjoy it. I thought the performances were pretty good. And I guess we get ready for when the real award season hits. And that's a whole nother beast within itself. All right. So now that we have jumped around, I have to talk about what everybody has been talking about right now, which is Young Thug being chatty. Here's the thing. I feel like if you all don't follow Dominique Morgan on TikTok, you are truly missing out on the creator of a lifetime. She has such a unique perspective. And I wish that I could like regurgitate all of her thoughts because so much of what she said was so true. But anyway, so I say all that to say why she's such a great source here is that she is a trans woman who was incarcerated for more than a decade in a men's prison. And so she speaks to her experience and she is just so perplexed at why Young Thug is speaking so much. And to that point, she says like, Young Thug is not no real thug because a real thug would have known not to be so chatty. Anyway, so I don't know who has it out for Young Thug. But it is very true, again, to Dominique's point that the feds with their conviction rate being so high, right? When they lose, they don't like that. And so therefore, they have to make you lose somehow, some way. And that is what it seems like they're doing with Young Thug. Because it's like every other day, just a new little clip will come out. And I will say, as many people have said, the only man that he was talking to on that phone who seemed like they had some sense was 21 Savage, which actually really doesn't surprise me. I've always felt like 21 Savage was kind of, how do you say, like almost kind of above the fray when we think about just like the mindset of certain rappers. Like, you know, I can even think back to, even though she's a loser now, but I can think back to when he was dating Amber Rose and you know, he had such a forward thinking mindset around women and being, having bodily autonomy and things like that. So I've always found 21 Savage to be, to just seem to have a little bit more sense. Now, you can't give a man too much credit, but I'm just saying, it seems like he has a little bit more sense than most. That's all I have to say. He just seems to have a little bit more sense than most. Anyway, it seemed like he was the only one that kind of had some sense in all of these conversations that Young Thug is having. The one time Young Thug did eat, though, is when he was talking to Mariah, and he did say that Future should worry less about women and worry more about his kids. I said, you know, Thug, of anything that you were being chatty about, I think you kind of ate with that one. Now, here's the thing. I absolutely never prey on the downfall of a woman, particularly a Black woman. And I've been stupid in love too, right? So I try not to be too self-righteous. Now, have I been Mariah dumb? Perhaps not. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know, this is still a woman whose heart is invested in this, all the things. Of course, a clip comes out of Thug admitting that he has cheated on Mariah, which, oh my God, shocker. I mean, when the video came out of his cell, I mean, it was a wall of women and Jerica was the largest one. I mean, I'm not particularly surprised here. I say all that to say, I do hope, even though it seems like Mariah is very, very, very my man, I pray that this maybe is the moment in which she says, you know what, I don't like this. I don't need this. I'm too cute for this. I'm too smart for this. Like, the girl went to St. John's, if I'm not mistaken. Like, she's very smart. You know, I'm not a huge fan of her music, but I love Burning Blue. That song is very cute to me. She clearly has a career that's growing. She has a very dedicated fan base. I was recently around her at an event and her fan base absolutely loves her. And so I just hope that she understands that she can do a hell of a lot better a hell of a lot better. I mean, I forgot what awards it was. Was it the BET Awards where Young Thug dragged her through the carpet so she didn't do interviews? Mind you, this is when Burning Blue had just come out, so she didn't do interviews. To my understanding, she didn't do Getty. Like, I want her to, somebody had commented and said, Mariah, it's your time to find your Russell Wilson, babe. It is your time to find your Russell Wilson. Go be free. Fly. Young Thug ain't going nowhere fast. I'm surprised he didn't talk about me on them tapes because he was talking about everybody. So at the time, he was talking about so many people that it got to a point that I was like, never met the man, never had an interaction, but he might even be talking about me on these tapes. That is how chatty that man got. And I think what we're learning too, because everybody's like, so when is it going to end? They're going to drop those tapes for as long, I don't foresee it ending anytime soon. I think it's only going to get worse. I think they're only going to keep digging through it. I think that it's only going to get worse for the things that Mariah finds out about, because I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually started releasing audio of him talking to other women too. And so, it's so interesting, that men have so much to say and so much to, he had so much to say, particularly about Gunna, who we'll get to in a minute. It's so interesting that he has had so much to say, especially coming out about other people who are doing positive things with them while he just kind of runs the people that he loves through the mud. Speaking of running, that's a perfect segue. While Young Thug is spiraling quick, Gunna is out here running, gathering the black folk for 5K, encouraging us to get up and get active. He looks great. He looks fantastic. His album, very, very cute. Y'all know I'm like an auntie when it comes to my music taste. So it's like, I was never like, oh my God, turn on some Gunna, but the songs that I've heard, very, very cute. I think it is proof of like, and I say this all the time because I deal with this a lot in my industry, of course, being in the entertainment industry. There is true power and there is true, it is truly beneficial to run your own race, no pun intended, to run your own race and really drown out the noise and not listen to the BS and the rah-rah that sometimes comes with all of this. If Gunna is teaching anything right now, and again, I don't know these people, so I want to be clear. I'm only speaking on the situations that all of us have readily been able to see the past few months, few years. But I think that he truly is proof of like, stay out of the way, put your head down, do the work, better yourself, use those opportunities and your money and your resources to better those around you, and stay out the way. Like that, in my opinion, like, is this not proof? Like, is this like, anyway, Gunna, keep doing what you're doing. Mariah, leave him. And, I think the rest will be fine. Now, moving on to more legal woes. I don't even know if it's a legal woe. Y'all, the Cardi B case had me in a chokehold. Again, I wish that we were doing the solos weekly because I just had so much to say. The Cardi B trial had me in stitches the entire time. Number one, I think that anybody who has tuned in knew that woman was not going to win. I knew that it was, I think it was incredibly obvious from jump that woman was never going to win. It was incredibly obvious that she only wanted money. And it was incredibly obvious that she had provoked the entire situation. But I think it speaks to the bigger topic around privacy for those who do still try to, who still do desire to share their life on the internet, right? And I share their life on the internet or just be public figures in general, because there were very few and far between, but some people who are like, well, she's a celebrity. No, she signed up for this. No, she actually didn't. Because I think to the point that we can't acknowledge that a woman should be able to peacefully and without interruption go to an OBGYN appointment while she is with child. Mind you, even if she wasn't with child, if she was going up to get a wax, right? She should be able to enter those spaces without being confronted or without being disturbed and things like that. And I think that we're losing the plot. Mind you, this was 7 years ago, and it's only gotten worse now. And I truly believe that we are losing the plot when it comes to just respect, boundaries, and privacy. Like I tell this story all the time. I was at Essence Fest one year, and some things, it's just some things you just don't say. Like, it's weird. So I was at Essence Fest, and I was in the bathroom. Me and Asia were in the bathroom. And this girl came up to me and she was like, I know where you live. And I was like, what? And she was like, I know where you live. I know those mirrors that you post your fit checks in. I know where you live. Mind you, thank God I didn't live in that building anymore. I had moved. It was the building I lived in when I was in Brooklyn. And, you know, y'all don't know Asia's temperament. Asia was ready like, what? And I was like in pure shock. And it was like the concept of privacy and just moving in a way that has a lick of decorum. I'm just like, decorum. It's like decorum has flown out the window, right? And then it's like, but if I would have gotten aggressive or weird or been like, bitch, what are you talking about? You know where I live. Then I would have been the bad guy. The same way Cardi told that girl to back the fuck up. And then she becomes the bad guy. So it's like, I just think like boundaries are important and boundaries are necessary. Not only boundaries are important, respect for people's boundaries needs to be given even when that person is a public figure, right? It's not like, I think there has to be levels. And I do think that in this parasocial world that we live in, there becomes this very weird, we were just having this conversation last night, child. I was having this conversation with some other creators. Shout out to Monroe Steele. And we were just having this conversation about how weird this parasocial universe has gotten in terms of the way that people who follow certain creators believe that they are entitled to interact in the ways that they believe they're entitled to interact with creators. Like, I'll tell you guys all the time, I love when the girls come up to me. Absolutely love. I love chatting with y'all. I am really this chatty in real life. Like, I love giving y'all hugs. I love saying hi, all of the things. But there's decorum and there's time and place. Now, I will say overall, I don't have bad experiences. Like, overall, like I said, it's a very itty bitty percentage of women who have freaked me the hell out. Speaking of, did I tell y'all the story? Perhaps I didn't. This is speaking to, you know what? I'm going to share this story here because I don't think many people know this story. So a girl followed me on TikTok. She, I guess, followed me on LinkedIn and I approved her. Mind you, I think I have like 12,000 followers or friends, whatever you describe them as is on LinkedIn. And so I guess I had approved her on LinkedIn. I don't know because again, I just usually do like a bulk approval. Yet not anymore. This was maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And I get a phone call and it reads a voicemail and it says, hey, I can see the transcription. It's like, hey, Blake, this is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. And I wanted to connect with you. Can you give me a call back? So I don't know the name, but again, like, you guys know I'm Greek, so I'm thinking maybe it's one of my new neos calling me, maybe one that's in the city or wants to be in the industry, wants to connect, which I'm always down for. It could be anybody who I told, I often will tell my friends if they're like sisters or they're, family, friends want to connect, I'm more than happy to do that. So I'm thinking it's that. So then it happens again. She leaves another voicemail. And so I don't know this name and I'm just really confused. So then she calls a third time. This is maybe over a span of a week and a half. And I pick up the phone. And I say hello, and she's basically like, "Hi, Blake. This is so and so. I want to call you so that we could connect." And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "How did you get my number?" Because I'm confused. Because she's like, "Well, we're connected on LinkedIn." So I said, "But that's not what I asked. How did you get my number?" And she tells me she worked for a large bank. I don't want to misspeak and get in trouble, but it was one of the huge banks. Think like the massive banks, right? We all know friends in finance who work for them. She works for one of those banks. It has to be a bank that I bank with. Yes. Went in the database, somehow it must have been JP Morgan Chase. Lord, not me name dropping. went in the database. It was one of the banks because I do wealth management through another bank. I think it was that bank. She went through their database, found my number through that database because I bank with them, and called me to connect. Let me tell you something. That was the day. It was in front of my dad and it was in front of Bryce and my sister. And I put it on speaker because I was like, there are some things that people do that like other people have to witness because you feel like if you tell them, they're not going to believe that people really behave this way. So I said, so sis, don't ever do that again. I said, I need you to lose my number. I need you. And I told her at the time because my other friend worked at a separate bank, but of course they all kind of know each other. And so I told her, I said, I know people at so-and-so bank, and I will make sure that this is reported to your superior if you ever call me or contact me again. I remembered her name on LinkedIn. I unfriended her on LinkedIn and all these things. Like people are so willing to cross boundaries to interact with certain people. And so it's like, I could only imagine what it's like for Cardi. See, but here's the thing. People be trying Cardi, not realizing she's not settling with you. Cardi enjoys a good court fit. She enjoys a good court wig. She enjoys a good court beat. And now she's memes. Like this trial was good for her. Like it was good for them. Like she's everywhere. She was so funny. Like all of these things. I saw that say, these people need to tread lightly with how they interact with public figures because people not playing. I am a very nice girl. I am so nice. And people tell you like, not just nice, I'm a kind person. Like I'm kind and I'm nice. Like I'm genuinely like, those that have met me will tell you like, I'm so outgoing. I'm all the things. But let me tell you something. I'm not that damn nice. I'm not that damn nice. Stop playing in people's faces. Stop playing in these public figures' faces. Before you end up with all your business out on the street looking crazy like the girl that sued Cardi. What a weird girl. I hate that for you. Got your granny on the stand thinking she's testifying in your favor and she's proven the prosecution's point. Everybody touch grass. Go outside. I know it's all, I had to move to the burbs for that purpose. Go outside, stick your hands in the grass and rub it. Touch the grass, grab the grass. Grab the grass. Touch some grass. Anyway, moving on. Oh, this is not great. We lost Rolling Ray. We have lost an icon, y'all. We have lost an icon. I saw there was like a discussion going back and forth about if Rolling Ray is an icon. And I'm like, I don't think there's much discussion. Now, it depends on what you consider an icon. I am speaking of when we think of icons in the social media age, when we think of those who are always viral memes, viral clips and videos and phrases, etc. That is what I feel like Rolling Ray is. My condolences and thoughts and prayers go out to his mother. She's been posting, and of course, she's not been doing well, as I could not even fathom or imagine if I lost my child. So I really am sending so many of my prayers out there. Now, moving on to what I actually, also, and I did put this in here. You guys know I said that I wasn't going to talk many politics on here anymore because it was getting depressing. The country is still going to shit, if you were wondering. Make sure you mask up and please go get an extra vaccine shot. And vaccinate your fucking kids. Oh my God. Vaccinate your children, please. Oh my God. Well, there hasn't been polio in decades. Yeah, because of vaccines. Oh my God, there hasn't been smallpox because of vaccines. We're not going to get started on that because I said this is going to be a light and airy place for a podcast, and it still is. Okay, this is actually what I was there were two things that I was most excited to talk about. This is one of them. I'll tell you guys the other one. The movie Unknown Number on Netflix. So let me tell you how I ended up watching it. So I'm on Netflix, but I've been watching Animal Kingdom, which we'll get to in a second. And of course, it pops up like things for you. But I'm like, when I looked at it initially, I'm like, little teen texting documentaries don't really interest me. In my head, I thought it was just a teen texting documentary. Not that it's not important, but it's like, it's usually kind of the same rinse and repeat stories that we get, right? But I'm cleaning my closet, So I prop my iPad up and I'm like, well, you know what? I'll just watch it. So prop the iPad up, I'm watching it. And as I begin to watch it, for those, this is going to be a spoiler alert because I must talk about it. So if you have not seen it and you do not want the spoiler, I'm clocking right now. I just looked at the clock. I will let you know what time stamp to fast forward to when I'm done talking about it. Oh, wait, there's no way to do that because I'm going to, okay, sorry. You're just going to either just fast forward and hope I'm not talking about it anymore. So like I said, the documentary is called Unknown Number. For 22 months, a young boy and a young girl who are in high school or is it middle school? Middle school? Early high school are receiving text messages, these crazy, threatening, harsh text messages. And essentially all of the text messages, the boy and the girl are a couple, but essentially all of the text messages that they are receiving are talking about their relationship, are telling them to break up. They're particularly mean to the girl. This is an important part. Listen to this. They're particularly mean to the girl, telling her to herself, telling her to perform certain acts on the boy or else he'll leave, saying that the boy wants her, whoever this innocuous person in the ether who's texting is. All of these things, this goes on for 22 months. The important piece is, again, telling the girl that she needs to do certain acts and telling her that she needs to herself, right? So it could be anybody. So they take us through a myriad of suspects. One girl who is clearly a bully, and I think she got off too scot-free in this. We'll get to that in the end. One girl who is a known bully at school, who was mean and who had a history of bullying problems, turns out to not be her. They think that it is, mind you, this person is also all of the messages by location are tracking back to this bully girl too. So it seems like, oh, it has to be her, right? They get the FBI involved. Everything is going on. They have the police. Everything is going on, right? They considered another girl who was, I think, like the boy's cousin. All of these people, they go through. They cannot figure out who it is. They turn it over to the FBI. And the FBI is able to figure out who it was and who it was pinging to. Y'all, them text messages for 22 months were pinging back to the girl's mother. Her mother. She was texting her own daughter, telling her to herself, telling her that she needed to perform sexual acts, telling her that her boyfriend wanted, this creature, that she was performing those sexual acts on him. All of this happens, mind you, the mother, and I can say this because she's a POS, the mother is one of the hardest looking women on the eyes that I've seen in a while. That woman is so hard looking. She is so unsightly. She has a face that truly only a mother could love. And I'm not even sure if mother could do that. Like, she truly has a face that I feel only our father could love. And finds out that she's been doing it. She claims she didn't send the initial messages and all of these things. She claims that when they were trying to get down to the bottom of the initial messages, she figured she would text the mother and they text her daughter and her boyfriend to see if maybe she could get information out to try to solve it. She's a liar. She's an absolute liar. Anyway, so all of this occurs. Now, in the aftermath, of course, there's tons of discourse happening and all those things. One opinion that I have, I think that the bully girl got off to, granted, we don't know the whole story. They had to truncate 22 months into an hour and a half film. I think the bully girl got off too easy. This is what I mean. No, she might not have been the one sending the text messages, but to the point that your daughter has a history of reports of being a bully, those parents were up there like, I can't believe they did that to our daughter and all that. I'm not saying that she deserved to be wrongfully, accused of this, but what I am saying is that parents need to stop raising assholes. Like, I could not fathom if I was getting phone calls that my daughter was up in the school bullying people. They just kind of glazed over the fact like, oh no, she wasn't the one who did the texting. Yeah, but she still is an asshole. Like, she still sucks too. Then I saw a video and I need to read it. But, one thing I do love about The Cut is that, they really are one of the few places that we can still go for very, like, not lighthearted, but more like for the serious news stories that we wouldn't see on, for the serious stories that we wouldn't see on like serious news networks or serious, news publications like, the New York Times wouldn't maybe the Times would, but like the Washington Post wouldn't cover this, things like that. So The Cut a while ago did a story on this because this happened maybe 2 years ago. The mom only served like 18 months or something like that. She needs to be in prison because she needs to be in prison. But basically what, when I saw a synopsis, basically what it said was that the Cut article went really in depth about the mother's dynamic with the daughter's boyfriend. And they basically talked about how she would show up at all his games. She would make comments to him that were inappropriate. They really say that the documentary just scratches the surface of what really happened. And again, you really can only do so much with an hour and a half. In my opinion, that shit was so crazy. I would have sat through 6 episodes. If they wanted to make it into a limited miniseries, like a documentary series, I would have watched all 6 episodes. Give me 8, give me 10. But they say that they really, in my opinion, I do not think that anyone except the mom's cousin, crazy enough, only the mom's cousin, I think, spoke with the true level of disgust that I feel that the situation deserved. I just feel like nobody is calling this woman what she is, which in my opinion is a PEDO. Like I do not think that they drove home enough that this is what this woman is. She was texting children, her own daughter, her daughter's boyfriend, about performing sexual act. Like, I just don't think that enough emphasis has been put on by the other characters in it, how awful this woman is and how disgusting what she did was. It also made me so sad to see that the daughter still does. She cannot speak to her mother, but it made me so sad to see how much she still desires a relationship with her mother, because I think even in her mind, she doesn't even realize I don't think she understands the gravity of what it means that your mother was telling you to remove yourself from this world, was telling you to do these things to your boyfriend. Mind you, she had not, like, at the time, and I think still is, like, this girl is completely sexually unexperienced, and your mother is telling you you're no good if you don't do this or do that. It is, y'all, it is some of the wildest. It is some of the wildest white shit. I say all the time on here, I love white mess. I love white mess. I hate that children were at the subject of this, but it truly, y'all, is some white mess for the ages. I suggest everybody watch it. It is a tip. You literally are on the edge of your seat until they reveal who it is, because you're just sitting there like, who could it be? And when they finally realized who it was, it just, anyway, and what I am going to do is read the Cut article, because they say, like I said, that the documentary only scratches the surface. And they say that the Cut article is much more, a much more in-depth summary of everything, but also holds the mother much more accountable than I feel that the documentary did. Netflix needs to do a follow-up, and it needs to look like more accountability, because what this woman did, and she is so ugly. If you ever see this, you are so ugly on the inside and the outside. You got me. The only time I find it appropriate to speak on somebody's looks like this is if they have done such ugly things like you have done. You are so ugly. Anyway. It's the only time. Speaking of white mess, I dove into Animal Kingdom. Y'all never told me about Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is this show that I guess was on from 2016 to 2023. I think it ended. And they just put it on Netflix streaming. Y'all, it is the best. It is about this family, basically a criminal family of criminals. It is so good. Watch it. I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked. The acting is superb. My favorite character, for those who have watched Animal Kingdom, I'm finally at the point, because I'm season 2, where I love Pope. Pope freaked me out in the beginning. I was like, they have to get this man off my screen. I'm very scared of him. He's terrifying me. Pope is now my favorite character. I love when a character does a flip. That's not really spoiling anything for those who haven't seen it and want to see it. But I'm finally at the point where Pope is my favorite. All right. Moving on to Chronically Online. I actually only have one today because this was what I was really excited to talk about. There's a woman on TikTok, a pregnant woman on TikTok, who went to a wedding. She's very pregnant. Got to be at least 7-8 months. who was a guest at a wedding and decided to wear a plunging purple wedding dress. Plunging so much that it is to her belly button. She looked great, in my opinion. Wholly inappropriate for a wedding. Did I think she looked fantastic? Yes, she herself looked great. The dress was so inappropriate. So, as TikTok does, they find it, they begin speaking about it. And she becomes so defensive. She's trying to gaslight all of us. She's like, I realize y'all don't care about the dress. Y'all don't want someone with my body who looks like me wearing it. Mind you, I just said, nobody's even talking about the woman's body. Nobody, because she looks great. Like she looked, if she told me like I was going, this is for her baby shower, sure. If she told me she was going to even the Veuve Clicquot Classic, whatever, I would have been like, fine. For a wedding, it was so inappropriate. And she's made, and how everybody knows that she in fact is trying to gaslight us and wanted there to be a reaction is she is making video responses to like every comment. She is using this moment for what she thinks is going to be her TikTok stardom. And one thing that I can say as somebody who makes money off social media, I have found and learned that the rage bait thing doesn't get you where you think it's going to get you. The rage bait thing might get you some temporary views. But look at the Resilient Jenkins. You want to get on that app and try to rage bait people nonstop. Baby, the Creator Fund, I hate to break it to you. Unless you break in millions, up into the high hundreds of thousands of views per video, that Creator Fund don't pay well, boo. Take it from somebody who's in the Creator Fund. So it's so interesting when these people get on here. Now, do I think she posted the initial video for rage bait? No, but I think that what she is doing now is rage bait. Just search purple wedding guest dress. She gonna pop up. And it's so indicative though of like so much of the content that we see on TikTok, because so many people will just like will do something crazy and then hide their hands and be like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Okay, let me tell you something. So that brings me to my point about my wedding. I'm trying to get here. To my non-existent man. He's somewhere. He's preparing himself for me. Come to my wedding looking like you going to live on Sunday, and I will have you removed. I'm not one of those people who's like chill and laid back when it comes to dress codes. There's a time and a place for everything. You come to my wedding and it's too much going on, I promise you, I will have you removed. It's not just, if you wear white. No, babes, time and place. If you are not appropriately dressed, because there was a floor-length gown, so I can only assume that they must have said perhaps black tie, and you got a plunge to your belly button. Let me tell you something. And that was the point that they made about how it's not the body piece, because Kendall Jenner had worn this insane cutout dress to one of her friends' wedding and everybody was on her ass the same way. It is time and place, and we're losing that. It's the same way when these people will complain about not being able to wear these crazy outfits to job interviews. Time and place. Like we have lost the point of time and place. There is a difference. I think that people have begun to conflate like respectability politics and time and place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like and I cannot for the life of me figure out why people are like, well, we should be able to do. Some occasions require certain types of wardrobe. Like, I don't understand. I can't fathom why that is so hard to comprehend. It's the same thing when these people will get on there talking about like, I can't believe that they told me I can't wear this to a job interview. Certain situations require certain outfits. I'm not quite sure what's not clicking, but that's why I say, well, number one, my wedding, that list is going to be a very tight ship, but it will be made abundantly clear. If you show up in white or you look like you headed to King of Diamonds, you will be removed from my wedding, and you'll be removed before I even see you. Because the second you hit that dough and you get that little sleeve to cover up your phone, because it's also not taking no photos in my ceremony, you will be removed. Have some decorum. Have some decorum. Anyway, moving on to the last part, combos with friends. Speaking of combos with friends, I had combos with friends all this weekend. It was one of my line sister besties' 30th birthday party, and we spent it in her hometown. And just while I was there, and I always feel this way when I'm around them, you guys know that I am Greek, so I do have line sisters. So it's like I have besties. I have besties that became my besties because we're line sisters. I talk about it all the time. I have the best community of women around me. And my convos with friends is cherish, love, and prioritize sisterhood. When I think about the ways in which sisterhood has sustained me when I didn't even know that it was, when I think about the ways that it has kept me when I didn't know that it was, when I think about the ways that it feeds me, one thing that we talked about, because a lot of us are single out of the group and very successful in all of the things, my life lacks none. It is so full. It is so it's warm. It feels, my life feels like home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it is because of my family and because of sisterhood. And especially now where the world is kind of crumbling around us and we don't know what's going on, to be surrounded by women who knew me back when, who have seen me through so many seasons and so many periods and so many trials and have loved each and every version of me, even when those versions of me might not have been the easiest to love, is something that I don't know what I did in my past life to deserve the love that the Black women that I call sisters pour into me. So text your sister today. Tell her you love her. If you are someone who struggles with making friends, be intentional about seeking out sisterhood and community, and be intentional about being a good sister, right? It's like one thing that I say all the time is like, I think one of the reasons I've been blessed with such good friends and been able to keep and find such good friends is because I've watched my parents be such good, solid friends. Being a good friend is a must. And when you are a good friend, when you are a solid friend, you attract that. And I am reminded of the fullness every single time I am around those women, even when I'm not with them. But those few times out the year, it only happen. Well, now it's happening more because we're turning 30 and we're having weddings, and some of my line sisters are having babies. But you forget, right? We just now are in the year where I think we've seen each other like 4 or 5 times, like where we like in one year, which is crazy. And when I'm with them, we sit up until 3, 4 a.m. just talking about any and everything. Just sisterhood is a gift. And so love on your sisters, prioritize it as much as you prioritize any other type of love and relationship, because it is just as important. Now with that, now I'm off my soapbox. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. Like I said, in 2 weeks, we will see you guys for another episode, but I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.